104.1 KRBE.
Let's go. Good morning.
The Roula and Ryan Show.
With Eric.
It's about to get all stupid up in here.
Hey, sleepyhead.
Featuring Special K.
Nobody asked you, Kevin.
And Sam.
You've waited long enough.
How the heck do you pronounce this woman's name?
Roula.
Macaroni and cheese hot dog.
Ryan.
I am the worst DJ ever.
With Eric.
We're the champions of the world.
104.1 KRBE.
Good morning.
Another day with us. Welcome to the Roula and Ryan Show with Eric, Tuesday, February 11th of 2025 at 6:02 a.m. with the gang. Roula, Ryan, Eric, Special K, and Sam. Happy Tuesday, kids.
Hello.
I recovered from yesterday's Monday.
It's funny how
rule.
I have to look at the weather now because my daughter drives to school.
Oh, yeah.
Like my wife texts me, she's like, "Okay, what's
So you're worried.
it going to be like? I think it's supposed to rain all day."
Yes.
85% chance
So
of
I'm like,
rain.
I mean, she has to learn. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to be. And I think today's a good day for the beginning at least. But is it going to be really bad? Or is it going to be a constant?
Well, it's kind of like spitting at you right now. It's like
Stay
foggy,
off the
misty.
big freeways, you know.
She just
So
takes
that
like
one's good.
side. I never.
I don't
go
think
on
it's
the
floody
highway.
day.
Not
Not a
floody.
floody day.
I don't think so.
We would have had
It's a
flash
drizzly
flood
day.
warning sensors already. There
Right.
was
Official
a
forecast.
message out there.
Floody day.
I'm gun shy because
Floody.
like a couple months ago she was in a little accident and broke her headlight in the car, and that took from October 15th till 2 weeks ago she got
That
her
is
car back.
wild.
Oh, wow.
Waiting for a stupid headlight.
I even asked my
it's
Chevy friends,
American
what's the
com-
deal with
yeah.
this headlight? And they were like, oh, yeah, that part. This is going to take a while.
And they're saying
Isn't that crazy?
everyone's having part problems forever.
Problem.
I think it was a newer. Think about this: when you do buy a car and it's a brand new, design model, be careful because there's not enough parts out there sometimes.
I did not know that.
If you do get in a wreck, if you got something that's the same model for 5 years, there's parts somewhere.
That's what
right,
always
right, right,
fascinates
From
me.
a junkyard. It's just obviously when it's brand new, they're not going to be making extra headlights.
Yeah,
They should.
yeah.
Like sometimes when I drive by where you used to live, Eric, they have like right there on like Holcomb where it becomes Bel Air. They like on Sundays will have all these vintage cars out by the park,
Oh, that's
and they
cool.
all line up. And I
Evelyn's
think to
Park.
myself, and I'm like, what happens if he gets a fender bender? Like, how can you replace any of this
Yeah,
stuff? These cars are like
junkyards.
80 years old,
And
Shepherd Drive has some of the most junkyards I've ever seen in my entire life. And there's also a website online, because, she likes to DIY. It's called carparts.com. And you can literally search
That's
the
a good
entire
business.
Yeah,
country.
there's a guy in my neighborhood who has this really fantastically beautiful old truck. Like the kind you see in those farm things, Sam, for Christmas, the red truck.
Oh, yeah.
those are cool.
Okay, but his is
Christmas
teal.
on the farm.
And it's really pretty.
Those lights
and,
that
and I'm
dangle.
thinking, this is, I would just have it sitting there like decoration in my driveway. I just see it because of the color. I don't know how often he drives it, but I think of that often as well. Like, what if he did want to take it out for a fun day spin and somebody knocked into him? Like, how are you going to get that whole side now?
Yeah.
These old
That's what I'm
cars.
saying.
That's why you
So-
take them out for strolls.
Carparts.com. My dad, God rest his soul, had spent I don't know how many years restoring this Cadillac. My dad loved Cadillacs. And he had found this Cadillac that was on its last leg, and he took it on to have it renovated or redone or whatever. And it took so long. It was one of those things, like every woman in her life, there's enough women that have shaken their heads like, oh, my husband's working on that car for years. Finally, he gets it done. And the smile on my dad's face when he would drive that car to the family restaurant and park it in the front. He actually would make it his daily driver, but it didn't have any headrests. It was restored to its natural original beauty. So no seatbelts, no headrest, old school radio to punch the button, or like there was some giant knob
I
dial or
remember that.
something.
I remember that you used to have to hit these buttons. They look like chiclets on the front of the
they were
radio,
really
and you'd push them.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, gosh, what if somebody knocks into him? Like, how are we going to get those pieces? And so my mom was like, you want to drive that every single day? He had worked on it for so long. And then he ended up selling it.
Did his old car? Did it have that little tiny triangle window in the front? You know how you had
Yes, it
you had the
did.
passenger window, and then you had this little
That
tiny little
folds out.
triangle.
There's a cigarette window.
Yeah.
and
Is
you
that what it
push
was?
the window.
That's what I thought. It was to throw cigarette butts out.
perfect
Push it,
for the
and,
cigarette.
What they
just
did back
be-
in the 50s or
Black
something.
Cadillac.
Yeah, because it blocked the cigarette from getting completely destroyed, but you could kind of dip it down through.
Yeah.
And they made
Down
those
through the
cars all
window.
the way through the 80s.
Must have
with
been-
the little triangle.
Cadillac must have been like the be all to end all. It's still a great car. I'm just saying, in the
but it was,
50s.
it was a
Status.
symbol of status.
That's
You're
all my
right,
dad
Roland.
wanted. I remember my mom's will. She's like, go get your Cadillac now or get a boat.
Well, remember Elvis Presley made
He
it
got
a
his
thing
Cadillac,
that he'd
but-
buy people a Cadillac. Elvis Presley would buy people Cadillacs.
What was the Ford one? The Lincoln?
Continental.
Wait, the Ford won the Lincoln. Lincoln's a brand and Ford is a
I
brand.
thought that was a car. That's
Lincoln
Lincoln.
a
Continental or something.
subsidiary
Town car.
of,
Lincoln was a
of
town
Ford,
car.
or are they their own company?
Like
or what?
Cadillac had their, Chevy or whoever, GM had the Cadillac, and I thought Ford had the Lincoln.
Oh, I didn't know if it was owned by Ford. Somebody can text us at 37530. I just knew Lincoln and Cadillac. Those were my
I could be wrong. I
dad's
don't
two
know. I
big
just remember
cars that he loved.
Those are the two fancy cars in the 60s.
The only cool
50s, I
car
don't know.
we ever had growing up, I guess my dad had midlife crisis. He bought a red MG convertible. It was vintage. And he let-
MGs are basically as big as a shoebox. They're
yeah,
so
you
tiny.
could like
They're
with the
so
top
tiny.
down, you could put
Step
your arm
on it.
over the door and your knuckles could drag on the ground. It was so low to the ground. I'm exaggerating,
tiny.
but it
Was there
was
a pothole in Richmond?
it was really tiny, and he
gosh.
wouldn't, basically let me drive it around because I didn't have a car.
Shocking that
And
he would
then-
even let you touch it.
He wouldn't let me take it to college.
Did Austin Powers have that?
No.
It was kind of that size.
Yeah, it was a really small one. The reason I know MGs so well is when I was waiting tables back in the day before my radio days, there was an MG car club that would meet once a month at the family restaurant in the back room and have their meetings.
Oh, cool.
So the whole parking lot was all
What was the
MG
meetings like?
cars.
That's cool.
Yeah, that gavel?
Yeah. There's all these car clubs. Like Chevy had a car club. They would have meetings. MG had a car club. They
They just
had
talk
meetings.
crap about other brands?
I
Look
really
at
don't
that.
know what they
Oh,
ever
that's
talked
not
about in
an
the
MG.
meeting.
Maybe a part swap.
Hey, guy, yeah.
Maybe there was a newsletter. I think the
On the-
Chevy Car Club had a
Today's
newsletter.
agenda, we're going to talk about how to wash your car correctly.
Well, I'll tell ya.
Turtle wax.
Maybe like
It was a-
share information like Google on where to find the parts.
It was a cool car. It looked like a baller in it, but it is not a good car for making out. It's like being in a go-kart. It was just not a comfortable car to.
That's what my dad, when I was getting my first car, he's like, Eric, you want the shifter to be up on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
That way you got it.
Bench
Because that's
seat.
a bench seats in the.
You can have
God,
your
I hate that.
sweetie
I hate
pie
steering wheel
right
ones.
next to you.
And he wanted that, get the lady right there. Because I'm like, no, I want this one, that Ford Topaz. But it had the
man.
it had the
Yeah,
on
whoever
the
created
floor.
the bucket seat was the ultimate, jock block.
I know. So he was right though, because I'd use his car, take the girls out, and I had the bench seats.
Oh yeah.
They don't make cars like that now. I don't think there's one car you can buy where you don't have something interfering
bench
to the
seat?
driver.
Because you'd have
and
three or four people in the
Yeah.
front. Remember?
Right.
That's how we used to do it with I had a pickup truck, and we'd have like 3 or 4 people in the front seat.
4 people.
One
What
big
kind of
long.
driving were you doing?
Oh, yeah,
4
but-
people.
Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you, when you're a teenager, I think I was like 21 actually when I had the pickup truck. All you do is help people move. That's it. They know you got a pickup truck. You're helping your buddies move.
And you can't fit anyone
you do.
in the tailgate because you got all the crap back there, and it's not a king cab.
Exactly.
Mm-mm. I think I had a king cab Nissan when I was a kid, but the king cab, the seats were probably about 4 inches wide.
On the back part, like
yeah,
this,
but
yeah.
my high school buddies were real skinny, so they could sit behind me, and with a little flop down
Yeah, little
seats, just flop it down.
It's not like
Get
it is
that kid
now.
back there. Mm-mm.
Nope.
Well,
Now it's luxury.
37530, if you know of a car club that still has meetings somewhere, we'll talk about.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure it's Corvette.
They're out
Corvette
there.
clubs and stuff.
Yep.
Is there a Porsche club?
my dad's in the
Together?
Jaguar club.
Is he really?
Jaguar.
Mhm. Yeah, they have.
What if
little
he shows up? Some guy shows up in face paint, thinks it's Jacksonville Jaguars the team.
my
Wait,
gosh.
oh, what the hell? This isn't what I thought it
Wrong
was.
place. Well, it's just like when I tell you that story. I've told it a million times when my daughter wanted mac and cheese and the new store Just Mac opened up, and I'm like, she's all excited, and I drive up there on Jones Road, and I walk in, I'm like, this is Macintosh computers.
Oh,
And they were called Just Mac.
Just Mac.
But there is a Just Mac that's all Mac.
Yeah,
and cheese.
That's what I
just
thought.
JUS.
That's what I thought. I was. All
I have one
excited
near
for
me on Yale. It's pretty good because all the stuff they mix up in there, like the brisket one.
It is a loaded mac and cheese.
There's one by Community College on 59 over there by the Home Depot. It's called Half Price Boxes. I thought it was Half Price Books. Mm-hmm. So I was all excited.
Because there was a
And I
half price
walked-
book.
yeah.
Pull up, you go in there, like,
I'm like, what the hell? This is just cardboard. This sucks.
How boring was? I mean, your job. You got to think about it. Like, I'm just working with boxes all day long. That's
Yeah,
all I
Different
do.
kinds of boxes. Boxes
fine.
here, boxes there.
Probably one of those jobs where you don't. Well, that one they had Caribbean all the time. They're nice
Yeah.
guys, but I don't think they like.
I think it's more of
Like
a
a
job,
life job.
than a career.
Yeah, unless you own it.
Yeah,
Right.
then it's a
But
career.
you just pay people to do it.
Exactly.
By the way, our texters know everything. GM is Cadillac. Ford had the Lincoln Continental. Those are the
Okay.
luxury brands of those two makers.
Yep.
I did not know that. That Ford was connected to Lincoln. I learned something new today.
And Blue
Didn't know that.
LeSabre.
The
Is that Richard Hunt's car?
Yeah.
Because
Those
did
are
Chrysler absorbed Mercedes, right? Or did
No.
Mercedes absorb Chrysler?
Daimler Chrysler.
Chrysler is like Jeep and
I know,
Yeah.
but didn't a luxury
And,
brand get absorbed by one of
Maserati.
them?
You're thinking Ford absorbed Jaguar.
Jaguar. Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Ford bought out Jag.
Huh. Interesting. It's
crazy now, all this stuff.
That was like
It's
25,
even like beer, like
30 years
Budweiser,
ago.
isn't it owned by like a Belgium
so
company or something?
confusing. I can't keep
It's not
track.
even American anymore.
No,
There's
it was in Prague. I went to Prague like 8
Well,
years
check-
ago,
check.
and it was owned by.
I thought Belgium bought it. Czechvar was the original Budweiser. They leased the recipe from them.
Belgium, like the
Or
country.
Belgium, the country. I thought some. Look it up. I think some
Bought the Budweiser recipe?
bought the
AB
brand.
The company,
AB
yeah.
InBev.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd be
Anheuser-Busch.
surprised like
think
how
they bought
few
that.
companies own so
Belgian.
many things.
See?
Belgian, Brazilian,
Well-
multinational.
And on
it's
a-
not even a local beer anymore.
That's crazy.
I
And
mean,
on a
doesn't
final note
Pepsi
for
own
some-
Pepsi
everything?
owns KFC and
And
all
Taco
that.
Bell.
Taco Bell.
On a final note, I got a reel. Maybe I don't know why. I guess it was because of Super Bowl commercials, but we didn't see this one at the Super Bowl. It's about Mercedes-Benz, the guy who was the CEO for 49 years, retired, and BMW was like all the comments were like BMW fire. Like this is such an amazing commercial. It was that for 49 years, and he's saying goodbye to all the people in the factory and all the people he works with, and 49 years of being a CEO of Mercedes. And it was like slow motion coming out of his garage with freedom. He can now drive a BMW. Willingly.
So you
And everyone's like, oh!
No.
He signed a deal with.
I mean, I don't know what the whole, I don't know what the backstory of that commercial was,
That's
but
like the
that
old-
was like real old, like it was real slow motion, like with victory music, where he could like now be free to drive the BMW in public.
we should do that commercial with like a competition
Yeah.
because they listen to take stuff, but also to learn how to do radio right.
We would have to take a video of them recording, listening to our podcast, and then copying it the next day.
Eric is such a needler.
All right, coming up next, the winners and the losers of the Super Bowl. Sewer Bowl. Sewer Bowl. See, if I just keep saying Sewer Bowl.
There was a Super Bowl like a Bryan Adams concert. Did you hear about that?
Sewer Bowl. We'll talk about
Yeah,
that.
oh, yeah.
There's your official
Oh,
weather
man.
for today.
All right, it's going to be rainy. That's it. It's going to be a high in the low 70s right now. 68 degrees and 613 on the Roula and Ryan Show.
KRBE's Roula and Ryan Show with Eric.
Celebrity Scoop.
It is brought to you by Taqueria Sarandas. And, here we are, like post Super Bowl time, and parties have happened, and the scores have been recorded, and the ratings have been, counted across all platforms. Now, y'all tell me if this is lower. Because I remember when Madonna did the halftime show, that had hit a record of 107 million people.
Okay.
I got to look up what year that was. Kev, maybe look up that year that was Madonna with...
Nicki Minaj?
Yeah. That was like 107 million or 104 million. And that's before I think we had streaming.
Okay.
Because with the streaming platforms, across all the platforms, it says 126 million people watched.
That's a big number.
I feel like for all the platforms,
I mean,
it should be more.
2012, I believe, is when Madonna did it.
Okay, and so we didn't have streaming platforms in 2012. It was 103.
You had fewer choices
So
then,
only
too.
23 million extra is added to the platform via platform? I don't know. Does that sound like a
I
small
think
number?
it's also maybe something to do with,
I think.
Kendrick Lamar. I'm not saying anything bad about him. He's a poet, a lyrical genius, but it's also polarizing, too, because there's not passive fans. You either love him or you don't.
plus, I think the game. I mean, I know they say third quarter it did better.
It picked
did
up,
well, but
it was
that's
a
like
zero score.
kind of like, oh, this game.
Oh yeah, because
sucks.
our Chiefs friend, her dad just left the house at halftime and just stopped
It's
watching.
like, I don't want to watch this.
I'm out.
But I think after seeing Brady come back 28-3, people are like, well, let's see. Patrick Mahomes is supposed to be better than him.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
see what happens in the third quarter. And then by then you're out.
And for every halftime show performer, they always see a jump in their streaming numbers. Kendrick Lamar, his numbers jumped 430% in the hours following the Super Bowl. Overall, his whole catalog increased by 175%.
That's why artists should do this for free. I mean, it's like you're getting nothing but exposure.
Well, I'm still on the fence of what exactly is given to the halftime show performer. They are given the budget of the NFL to take care of all the production, which is a lot of money. But do they actually make an exchange of money with their hands? Because when Katy Perry was on College Game Day, when it was speculated that she was going to be the halftime show, she said on College Game Day, I don't play. What is it? I don't pay for play.
Okay.
She said something like that,
In
and I
other
was
words,
like, I don't understand that.
She wants to be paid. She doesn't want to do this for free just to boost
She
her
had
catalog.
121 million. Watch her. Rihanna just barely beat her.
Okay, so
Lady Gaga had
it's
118.
so 126.
I think the worst was Maroon 5. I haven't seen him on the top 7.
They didn't make it?
Well, it's like Beyonce's had 110 for 7th.
I wonder why.
Madonna had 114. Bruno Mars 115.3.
Do you think at that point maybe they
Coldplay,
were?
but he brought out Bruno Mars and
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Do you think
Beyonce
maybe
and Bruno were like somewhere in that 3 years we saw them kind of rotating during
maybe
the
at that
halftime show.
point Maroon 5 was a little burned out?
No, they're just boring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For halftime.
Yeah.
Was it?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be white, black, hip hop.
No, it's got
rock.
to be energy.
Just energy.
Mass appeal.
Mass appeal.
It has to have a good beat. All right. So,
Maroon 5 was
speaking of
not it.
concerts, it is. Some people look at the football game as a football game with a concert. Some people look at it as the concert with some football played around it. That's what people are saying on the Christmas Day game with Beyonce.
Yes.
Beyonce concert with some football played around it. All right. So, a lot of concerts going on around the world all the time. What did we learn in COVID when the world shut down and had to stop flying all around? You realize how many people are constantly working in places that don't even affect you. Bryan Adams is a huge singer of the 80s and 90s. And, his biggest hit for my generation was when I was in school and everyone was obsessed with the Robin Hood movie. And it was Everything I Do It For You. It was like a huge wedding song.
I remember
That was a big deal. Anyway, Bryan Adams is still touring. He was in Australia. He was in Perth Sunday night. It had to be canceled because of something beyond his control, beyond really anybody's control. And who would have known? A fatberg had caused a sewage backup in Perth.
I don't even know what that means.
So it's
A
an iceberg?
fatberg,
Oh,
A
it's an
fatberg.
iceberg of fat.
like oils.
Oh, like blubber and stuff from whales? Or?
No, it's just all the stuff that
In the
accumulates in the sewer. That's
Oh.
oily and greasy. It turns into a giant blob. I only know this because I was watching Younger on Netflix, and there's an episode about a fatberg in the street.
that's
And I
cool.
was like, I've never even heard of this.
They pulled one out in the UK, and it was like a half-mile long and as wide as this room.
Wow.
And these sewer systems that are as wide as this room. And so all of these oils that people pour down the sink, your bacon grease,
Yep, yep.
your cooking oils, all that has to go somewhere. And when it gets cold, it congeals, and then it stops up everything. So years and years of that, and there you go.
I wonder if they could
Stops it up.
take one of those fatbergs and process it into fuel.
Hey there, fatberg.
I don't think so.
That's my name in high school.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Ryan.
The fatberg blockage was detected near the arena where Bryan Adams was going to play hours before he was going to. It was a sold out show. He was going to hit the stage. Workers were called to try and clear it up, but they could not get through it before the start of the show. And water authorities warned of the wastewater flowing into the venue.
Ooh.
So that's why they're like, no,
What's
we can't
that
have
smell
anybody
like?
here. So it forced them to cancel the show. And there were a lot of fans that were already there waiting to get in. They didn't know anything of this because how would you? And they were like, what do you mean it's canceled? So that's a very odd reason.
My wife, she hates Bryan Adams with a passion.
Is there a
It was
reason?
like him and Phil Collins.
Just like certain people she just couldn't stand. I'm like, oh, I love Bryan Adams. I saw him in concert when I was like
Summer of
19.
'69, and what's
Cuts like
from
a
the
knife.
heart.
Yeah.
what's the one that was
Kevin.
Please forgive me. I
can't help what I do.
What was the one he did?
Please forgive me.
Did he do
Can't
one
stop
with?
loving you.
Look at you, Kevin, knowing the words.
Did he do one with Sting? They did like a 3-way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, it was such a good song.
Rod
It was,
Stewart,
When You Really Love a
and
Woman.
Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
You Really Love a
Don
Woman
Juan
from the,
DeMarco.
oh my God.
Really love a woman.
Oh my God, that was such a good song.
Really. Yeah, that's all on the Mom Jean station.
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh,
gotta
I have
be.
not heard that song in the grocery store, but if I did, I would be loving it. Sam, do you know what I'm talking about? If You Really Love a Woman?
No.
I know we can't podcast it if we play it, but gosh, can you just find it? The beginning is so good.
It's the end.
Really.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It's like when you're writing an essay and you've got to throw in all those superfluous words,
Throw in an extra really. That was mid 90s, yeah?
It had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
to
say
be.
early, like 92, 93,
No,
maybe.
because he did. Robin Hood was 91, 92, right?
And that came afterwards.
Probably
I think
94,
early
93.
90s. Yeah. Somewhere
Yeah,
in
When
there.
You Really Love a Woman. Don Juan DeMarco, I never saw the movie. I don't know what it's
No.
about, but I know this song is from
Isn't Johnny
that.
Depp in that or something?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you find it?
You know what
Sam?
his
there's an ad.
his latest release? A lot of people don't realize this is that he wrote songs with the band Kiss. He wrote one of their biggest hits, War Machine.
Bryan Adams did?
Bryan Adams did, and
What?
he just released it as his own
In
version.
Canada, because in Canada, radio, they have to play a certain percentage of a Canadian artist.
Canadian content.
So back in the...
Interesting.
That's why he blew up in the 80s and 90s.
Because I had to play him because he's Canadian.
Yeah, it's like Celine Dion and him. They owned the Canada. Because
Yep.
they're like,
And-
well,
and
they're
Rush.
They're thinking about their big
And
hits
Bieber.
here. If they're hits here in America, then they're really going to be a...
They were huge already in Canada. Celine Dion was a huge star in Canada before she hit North American fame. Here we go. Don Juan DeMarco soundtrack.
Here was that song.
Yeah,
Did you
what's it
find
say?
out, Ryan? You usually know.
Oh, you should let it play.
Hang on, I'll look it
And
up.
it's like when you see, when you see your unborn children
We don't
in
have
her
enough time for
eyes.
this.
Yeah, that's at the very end.
You guys can listen to this during
Unborn
commercials.
children. We
1995.
will. We will be
95.
listening to this during the
Right.
commercial break. That's
That
what
was
we're going to
me.
be doing.
We
That
were
was
both
me.
wrong,
No,
Eric.
no.
95.
Same year as Chris Isaac. Wicked Game. They had a lot of those.
No, Wicked Game came out in 89. I was in college.
Well, it was big in Chicago. I played on the radio, right? Wicked Game and the other one.
Wicked Game had a comeback because it was in a movie called Wild at Heart with
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
People back in the mid-'90s were really in that belly rubbing music.
Yes, it's,
90s.
my mom listened to that AC station all
Yeah,
the
that's
time,
it.
adult contemporary, so I know all the lyrics to all those songs.
Oh, yeah.
funny.
I'm still waiting for Randall's to bring it with Brian Adams during my grocery shopping today. Let's go.
It's like you hope you have the aisle to yourself.
I know.
Yeah,
Right?
give it to it.
Oh, I love this song. All right, coming up next, Valentine's Day is around the corner. In case you have lost track of your calendar, it's on Friday.
So
it's
that-
on Friday.
No pressure on that one. You can't get away with, it's Tuesday, honey. We got work the next day. Nope.
So a lot of people are like, okay, well, if there's a woman in your life, pretty easy with some flowers and something sweet. But what about for the man in your life? What are psychologists saying we should buy the men in our lives for Valentine's Day? Find out next on the Real and Ryan Show with Eric.
Back to the Roula and Ryan Show.
With Eric. Yeah. Valentine's Day is on Friday. So if you don't already have your plans and you want to go out that night, well, you better start figuring out where you're going to sit and eat because it's going to be busy. You're going to find a table. You can't be like 7 o'clock, I'm kind of hungry. Let's just go to a restaurant. Yeah, that
No.
restaurant's going to be really
Yeah.
booked.
Now it's so easy to do. It's not like you have to even call the restaurant.
Yeah, you just go into those
Open
apps.
table
Click
stuff.
online.
There's no excuse, guys.
Of course, right now, if you go to Open Table, every restaurant will say either 4:45 or 10.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because
They're
people
like,
plans.
oh, you
Yeah.
want to eat on Friday? Okay, 4:45 or 10 p.m.
I did that for the Super Bowl once. Steak 48. They go, well, we only have a 4:30 on a Saturday, but that's when all the celebrities are coming. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll take
Oh.
it.
Yeah,
I
you
stayed
sat
till
there all
10
night.
o'clock. And I was
It
like,
was
all right,
awesome.
screw you guys.
Let's
you
go.
You could have had this table for made double the money, but now it's just me.
Now it's just me
I'm
on
going
my
to get
scotch.
appetizers.
Okay, so obviously Valentine's Day is all about love, and for some people it's all about flexing that there's somebody in your life that loves you enough to spend $150 on roses that usually cost about $25.
Yeah, that's
Everything is upcharged.
Oh, yeah.
I've been buying fresh flowers for years at the grocery store. I know the prices, and I know that 10 days out, the prices skyrocket
Oh,
for the
absolutely.
same dozen roses that I always buy. And I had asked them once, like, how come? Why? These were always like $10.99. Now they're $12.99 because of inflation. And they're like, we have to just charge us more starting now. They just charge us more.
They
So
should
now
have
it's
like
$24.99.
like a loyalty club for people like you, Rula, and Sam that like to buy flowers year
Yes.
round. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Or if
maybe-
your birthday's on February 13th, my parents
yeah.
and my husband always have to spend so much money because I love flowers
sucks.
on my birthday. I want them on my birthday. I don't really care about Valentine's Day. It's just like that's my special day, but it's the
Yeah.
13th. It's so expensive. And then
costs a
shipping
ton.
them because my mom is always so sweet and always normally ships me flowers. And I'm like, geez, Mom.
Sam's got a
Mm-hmm.
great birthday gift this week after the show.
well, is she supposed to know about it?
No, we all know about
We all
it.
know about it. It's like
Well-
like a meeting.
I'm
Well, there might be a cake.
Yeah, but
I don't.
that's the day.
It's-
That's the one day where you can get people want to take you out
Normally
for
I would've-
lunches and do things
Yeah, I
and
would
stuff
have
at
made you
noon.
guys take me out to lunch because
Yeah.
Mark's not going to be around for lunch.
Aw.
We'll get a
we'll
cake
all
and
be
we'll cut
together.
it, and then we'll make you pass all the pieces out to everybody. When it's time for your piece, there's no more cake left. Okay, so Valentine's Day activities. Most popular date options trending for Valentine's Day are couples massages, aquariums, sip and paints, paint classes, arcades, zoos, couple spa, movies, casino if it's in your area. What do psychologists say you should buy the man in your life if you're buying a gift for a man? Well, for women, it could be a variety of things. So they feel like people have an easier idea. For men, they say buy something that's more practical or functional. Something that men will appreciate gifts that have a clear and immediate use that can help them with their daily lives, like a tool or an appliance, or maybe your dude needs an electric shaver or something that immediate use for daily use.
Eric, I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever really gotten any Valentine gifts from anybody that I've ever been in a relationship with.
I'm trying to think. Of, maybe.
Really?
No.
I always get
don't
Mark
think-
something. I
We're
already
pretty
have his
simple.
gift
We
in
just
my
want to
DM.
see you naked.
That can happen anytime I'm changing to go to the shower. I'm like,
Yeah.
take a peek. I'm getting in the shower.
I'm like, look away, turn the lights off.
Like,
Wobbly bits.
yeah, say, maybe not.
There's a belly there.
Yeah, maybe not right
It's
now.
not normally there.
Fine. For him, he'll be like flexing, like, that's my baby in there. That's why he'll be happy to look at
I
you.
put that there.
Yeah.
That's my baby.
Ew.
Because I'm Texas tough. I'm American.
Texas tough. Research
can do
has
that.
shown that 1 in 14 adults have broken up with somebody on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
1
that's
in
mean.
14 adults have broken up with somebody. So you are planning the breakup, and you're going to be like, oh, I didn't realize Friday was Valentine's Day. Friday was going to be the end of the relationship.
That's pretty cruel.
That's crazy. 7% of people say they're the ones that broke up just before, and another 6% say they broke up just after. So you got the 13th, 14th, and 15th are breakup days, I guess, for Valentine's Day. Now listen, here on the Roula and Ryan show, on Friday it's going to be kind of tricky. I have to go to Kansas City, Missouri. I have to figure out which side I'm on. Is it the same city?
I think you're.
It's just one side they have a line through the city.
Like
I've
the
never been to
city
Kansas City.
of Kansas City's in Missouri, I thought. When I
Well,
was
there's
there.
Kansas City, Kansas, and there's Kansas City,
Like the-
Missouri.
like
Is there
those-
like a city line, a state line in the middle of the city? I've never been there before.
Is it two
No.
different time zones?
Yeah, that would suck,
I don't
wouldn't
know.
it?
Oh
Anyway,
my gosh, that'd be so
on
confusing.
Valentine's Day, I'm supposed to be there because my daughters are playing in a basketball tournament, so I have to be there on Valentine's Day. And my sister is also coming along with my niece, and she goes, "Wait a second, we're going to be in Kansas City on Valentine's Day. You know when you're traveling to a new city and you land and you get to your hotel and you're like, oh, let's get something to eat. Are we going to be able to eat anywhere because it's Valentine's Day?" Right?
Yeah.
Probably just
I
like
should
not
probably
a
go-
super nice restaurant.
Well,
I'm
just
sure
in
you can
general,
get it.
I guess I'm going to Chipotle.
I bet you can get in.
You could
That's-
find a kava. I just got introduced to that
No.
yesterday.
She's not
Thumbs
a fan.
down.
I know. I
My
figured.
kids,
Thumbs down.
my
I
kids
figured
love
you
it.
probably didn't like it.
I miss Zoe's Kitchen.
No, Roula. I'm obsessed.
Are they all gone?
Zoe's Kitchen all got absorbed by Kava. My kids like it, and I've tried to like it. I'm sorry,
my.
no shade against
I
them.
ordered my.
just-
I
just
got
knew
a
what I
steak
liked.
pita. I got all ready to go.
Yes.
And they go, oh, the garlic dressing sauce is going to take 20 minutes. And it just opened. I'm like,
What?
I'm like, wait a minute.
Why does sauce take 20 extra
I'm like,
minutes?
it's on the menu. It brags about this garlic.
You got the steak and feta
I
one?
tried to.
Yeah.
But then they said 20 minutes. You just opened. How do you not have the stuff
Oh,
ready? So
no.
Yeah, that's a good
So you
point.
ditched it, or did you stay?
well, they actually made it. I go, I don't want it.
Oh,
Eric,
come on, Eric.
You're such a brat.
I mean, what else you gonna put? If I'm going to try for the first time, and they recommend that's what you're supposed
Like you
to put
picked
on
that
it.
dish because it had that sauce, and they said the sauce isn't ready.
Yeah,
See, I don't understand things
I
like
went to the
that.
medical center.
We went to a restaurant and
American
had
like this, yeah.
reservations. We show up and they're like, oh, yeah, it's going to be another 20 minutes. I'm like,
Because they can't control the people sitting there before
I'm like,
you.
but
We've
I
already had this
I
conversation.
had a reservation for this time.
We've
But that
already
one
had this
I don't-
conversation.
Literal definition reserve means
We're
to
starting
hold this
conversation.
place for you.
Not
If
for
they
food.
cannot tell people, hurry up and eat this. Ryan Chase is coming in after you, and we need to make
Well,
sure this seat is ready.
actually, I have been to a restaurant where they are like, hurry up. You have a 90-minute limit. Then that's it. We'll
That's
charge
new,
you.
though. Within what, last year?
So it's
2
really
years?
not a reservation. It's just a, well, maybe we'll get you seated.
But
at
how are
that
you supposed
time.
to do it?
Yeah.
You're swearing by this, but it's
Ryan, I
human
would love
beings.
for you for 1 week to run a restaurant. God bless America. If you ran a restaurant for one straight
I'd
week,
run
it
it
would
into the
change your
ground.
perspective on everything that you ever said.
I would run it out of business.
Yeah, how are you supposed to tell people that they're there for a night of being romantic? They're going to take their time. You
Come
know, they're
on.
getting desserts.
No, yeah.
Grab a
Some will
doggy bag and get the
engaged.
hell out.
I know, so I was hard
But then
to
you'll
wait tables
bitch about it
over
if they push you out. You'll be like,
What do you think the
I
maximum
was trying to
time?
propose.
I was gonna
and
leave you a
I
big
got
tip.
pushed
Do you
out.
think, like,
Big
should there
mistake.
be a limit? Like, is 3 hours too long to be eating dinner?
Yes, it's 100% too long. That's
Yeah.
why Kevin went to that place. They put a timer on him.
yep. Unless it's a
Like-
buffet.
Oh, God.
That's ridiculous.
Strap on the feed bag.
A buffet for 3 hours. My tummy
What's
hurts.
going down in H-Town on the Roula and Ryan Show with Eric.
104.1 KRBE.
Okay, so which Houston area teachers get paid the most? Well, most of Houston school districts' average teacher salaries range from $65,000 to $70,000 last year. A few districts, and they're mostly east of Beltway 8, get paid some of the highest salaries in the region. Now, the highest Harris County was Channelview. Their average teacher salary, $72,700. After that was Deer Park, $70,300. Galena Park, $69,800. And LaPorte and Sheldon at $69,700. But the biggest paying salary for teachers in H-Town, Barbers Hill ISD in Chambers County. Average salary, $79,800.
I don't know where Chambers County is, but maybe I've driven through it. Where's Chambers County? Is that
It's
north?
still not enough.
Southeast?
For what they do, I mean,
Where's that? I'm gonna look it up.
Chambers
County, text me at 37530. What's around you? How am I getting to you?
Somebody text, by the way, they agree with Ryan, but they just don't get how restaurants work. Because if you reserve it, it should be reserved for you. So they're going to keep that table for you at 7 o'clock, not let anyone eat at 6 o'clock there. Keep it for you. Then you don't show up till 7:20.
Well,
you screw everything up.
You know how many
Or
times
you don't
I've
show
gone
up
to
at
a
all.
restaurant?
Screw us. It's just so rude.
I've gone to a restaurant so many times where it's like, oh, we can't seat you at that table. I sit an empty table. We can't
I
seat
don't
you at that
believe you.
table
there's no server for that
because
section. You will
somebody
then
has
sit
a
there and you'll be
reservation
waiting.
and they weren't
Yeah.
there yet.
Well, then why are you complaining?
Yeah.
Because they just did what you said.
Yeah, that's reserved for them.
You just
oh my
wanted
God,
it
you
that
just
way.
contradicted
You can't have it-
yourself.
no, you can't have it both ways, is what
That's
I'm
what
saying.
That's what you want.
No, I'm saying I'm like, I'm in a restaurant. There's a bunch of empty tables, and they tell me they're all reserved.
But
and
you
I
just
can't sit
complained
there.
that your reservation is ready and you have to wait 20 minutes for
But
someone
the
sitting
same
in your
restaurant,
table.
when I show up, they don't have a table
you're-
for me.
You're talking out both sides of your mouth, man.
You're a politician over here.
Go run a restaurant for a month now. I'm giving you a month sentence.
You want those tables to be empty the whole night until you show up. That's what you want.
Well, yeah,
And then when you just said that they were empty,
And
they
then you
wouldn't
wonder
give
why
you a
restaurant
seat.
shut
but
down.
it was the same restaurant. Like one day I'm there, and they've got all these empty tables
I
they
think you're
won't
making
seat
it up
me
now.
at.
I mean, Chipotle
I don't
doesn't
wanna
do that
burn them.
much.
I mean,
Leave Chipotle alone.
yes,
Switch
that's
to
it.
Kava then.
Yeah,
However, I know you've done this, Eric.
I went one time and I'm hooked like Kevin gets hooked
What
up
is that
thing.
stuff?
Can you be hooked by one time?
The garlic sauce?
Yes.
Or are you thinking about it? That's why.
I'm just thinking about
Okay.
it.
Just
Like my
pregnant,
mouth
right?
is like
Watering?
yes, salivating.
Well, that's good. Maybe it's a pregnancy craving you can, satisfy every day going to Kava.
That is expensive.
See, that's why I was mad.
Are they pricey?
Oh my God, yes.
Nothing's cheap
I
anymore.
feel like it's comparable though to Chipotle.
Yeah. It's
I
like
haven't been to Chipotle in a while.
Now, Eric,
Or
when you
if
go
you
to
get like
Chipotle,
poke, like a
do
poke
you
bowl. It's very similar.
do you wait when
Yeah.
you see there's just a few little crumbs of the meat in the
no.
bottom of
I
the
say,
pan,
give me
and
that
you're
new-
waiting for them to bring out the new vat?
Give me that new pot of meat.
Yeah.
And also,
Pardon me.
They got it.
that cilantro over there. Give me that cilantro you're hiding back there. I know you're supposed
yes.
to put cilantro on this. Don't be. I don't know why they don't put it.
Stingy.
They don't put it in the front for people
Yeah.
to eat.
I would love for somebody from Papacitos to tell me how many bushels of cilantro does that whole restaurant company go through in one day?
Oh yeah.
The amount of cilantro that Papacitos must have to order, they probably keep the cilantro industry running.
Or how about spinach? How do they keep that in cases and it shrinks so small?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Well,
It's
like a
wild.
They have to have a whole warehouse full
Yes.
instead of for one night because it,
The spinach
You need to like
warehouse.
vacuum seal it.
it takes up so much
And
space.
then it's like woof.
Yeah.
But once you take the seal off, it gets all wilty really fast.
The shrinkage of spinach
then
is a
cook it.
phenomenon.
I know I don't understand that. I
It's
see that
really
big bag. I'm like,
unbelievable.
wait, this is enough for like half a person.
And it's like 1 cup.
Yeah.
Coming up next on Revenge, somebody's mad at the spinach industry.
Yeah,
for
I'm gonna take 'em down.
shrinkage.
You're down, Popeye.
Popeye. Go to KRVE.com if you want to be part of our show.